We continue with Tammy Trent.
At that moment, fear completely came over me, and I just felt something's wrong. Something's wrong. It was truly a moment where I just wanted to shout that somebody's out there. Trent, I hope you hear the boat. I hope you see Trent. I mean, it was all of this confusing feelings, and I was fighting fear anyway and hoping that he was okay, but realizing he's done this a million times. He's perfectly fine. Tammy, he's fine. But I was scared. I was scared. And I asked the guys in the boat if they'd take me out to search for Trent. So we went out into the lagoon, and we began to search the whole lagoon and the outskirts of the hole and the lagoon, and I found nothing. And he was always there to rescue me from anything. And now I can't save him. What do I do, God? What do I do? Just somebody tell me what to do. I felt absolutely hopeless. I felt absolutely helpless. All alone in that moment, it was so amazing to me how my mind stopped thinking, stopped trying to rationalize, and stopped trying to put it together. And my heart completely kicked in. All that I'd known my whole life, I was out telling people every weekend to trust God, to have faith, to believe in the worst moments of your life. But now I was having that moment, and the only thing I could do was to lift up my hands toward heaven and ask God. The only thing I could pray was to help me, Jesus. I asked him, God, help me. And then I began to sing every praise song I could think of, because it was the only thing that was comforting my spirit. That very song, I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice. It was like in this moment, to worship you, oh my soul, it will rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you see. May it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears. So it was almost that confession, even in that moment. I could choose to fall apart, or I could choose to worship God somehow. They came into that room 3 hours later and told me they couldn't find Trent, that they had to call the search off. And they said, Tammy, where are you going tonight? Where are you staying? I said, I have no idea. And they said, you can't stay here, but we'll take you up to a home of 2 doctors that will watch out for you through the night. I went up there. The next morning, the doctor came into the room. He said, Tammy, I want you to come with me. He took me into this other room where there was a TV, and I stood there watching the morning of September 11th, 2001, as the second plane plowed into the Twin Towers. It was absolutely, for the first time in my life, that moment where I thought, this is the end of the world. I really thought this was it. We can't find Trent. I don't know what's going on with Trent. The entire world has gone mad. What's happening in New York City? Nothing made sense to me. It was that feeling of, this is it, Tammy. Get your junk together. Make every call you need to make. Ask forgiveness, whatever you need to do. Get it together. I thought this was it. Then I found out that my family was grounded on planes all across the country. Not one person could get to me. And I totally felt like, God, why? And then I got the call that they had found Trent in that hole and that he had not survived, and I had another one of those moments where I just wanted God to meet me. And I had that conversation with God, and I just said, if you are real, if heaven is real, if all of this is real, could you send me somebody to hold me? I missed my mom. I missed my sister, my best friend. I just wanted that touch of a mom. And I'd never asked for this before, but I asked God to send me one angel. So I got up and I began to walk out of that room, hanging onto the side of the wall, pulling myself through that room, and I could hear somebody in the other room. So I went over there and I saw in the opening of that door a Jamaican woman standing there in a Hilton housekeeping outfit. And I looked at her with tears racing down my face again, and I said, ma'am, could you just come in and make my bed? I said, it's a mess. Could you just come in and make my bed? And she said, yes, I could hear you crying. She said, I've been trying to get to you. I could hear you crying. She said, could I just come in and hold you? Well, I absolutely fell apart, and I said, yes, please. And she walked in that room and she wrapped her arms around me. And she had no idea I was a believer. I had no idea she was, but she began to pray for me. And I knew at that moment, in that very moment, that yes, Tammy, God is very real. He's absolutely real, and he is here in this moment, covering you. There is peace. Can you feel it? There is life. Can you feel it? And I knew there was. when she let go, as we were holding on still to each other and praying together, I had that thought that came over me like, man, I had no idea that angels wore Hilton housekeeping outfits, you know. I would have called her yesterday. But she released, and she began to make my bed, and she began to sing praises to the Lord, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. But it was totally a moment of knowing at that place that indeed, Tammy, you are not alone, and that yes, Tammy, God is very real. There's been healing in my life, yet I think I'll be healing the rest of my life, but because I have Jesus, I have hope. Because I have hope, Trent is a part of my future, not my past.
Next, Don and Cheryl welcome platinum artist and Grammy winner Toby Mac.